to the channel. In today's video I will be showing you all my coloring supplies. I have collected a lot of them over the past 2 years, but I'm also going to go back and show you what I started with. Now, the first set that I got was the Derwent Artist set. It's a 36 pencil set, and this was back in 2013. And I cannot tell you what was on the market at the time because I didn't really know, but I had been gifted this beautiful set by family, and I really worked a lot with them. I have another set that has been worked out a whole lot more, but it's packed away, and this is my replacement set. So I learned a lot about colored pencils from this set. I learned how to blend colors together, how to layer. I learned the difference between burnishing and blending, but a lot of my growth came much later on in 2020 when I picked up coloring again as a hobby. So when I tried these pencils in 2020 in Johanna Basford's Secret Garden, I found it really was a lot of work, and so I went on and I got another set of pencils, and this set of pencils I got was the Castle Arts, way back before it became as popular as it is now. So I got the 72 set of Castle Art pencils, and I colored with these for a year, and only these. Oh, now it doesn't want to open. There we go. And I loved that it came in its own case. And then I had a couple of problems with breakages, so I contacted Castle Arts, and they sent me another set of pencils to replace the ones that were breaking. So I pulled out of that set the few Castle Art colors that I didn't have in the 72 set. So that is why I have a few extra pencils in here. And I really enjoyed coloring with these. I learned so much with them. I did some of my best works at that time with these pencils, and I really grew as a colorist. But still, I felt it quite challenging because a lot of the color alongs I wanted to participate in were using Prismacolor pencils, and the coloring videos I was looking at didn't supply any alternatives for Castle Art. So I learned how to work with what I was given and how to adapt the video to suit the Castle Art pencil set that I had, but still I wanted a bit more of a exact match, and so I began to keep an eye out for Prismacolor pencils. So eventually what happened is my birthday came around in March of 2021, and my family gifted me the Prismacolor Premier 72 sets, and I absolutely loved how these pencils laid down. I loved blending with them. It was so easy, and I noticed how my coloring just increased, and I jumped a couple of levels in the way I was coloring. So I then went online, and in one of the Facebook color and sell book in one of the Facebook groups that sell craft and coloring supplies, I found a set of 132 Prismacolors. So I went and I got that, and I would then go on to coloredpencilshop.co.uk, and I would buy replacement pencils from that. And so I really have enjoyed my Prismacolor set, and I've been very pleased to have grown that set into a set of 130. But then I also was gifted a different set of pencils for my I think it was my birthday or it was for a Christmas, and that was this set of Marco Renoir. And again, it came in its own pencil bag. I'd been curious to try these. They were a budget pencil. So as you can see, they have not been used much. I hardly ever color with them. Their colors are very beautiful. I love the range of colors that I get with them, but I found that they're too hard to color with. I found they don't blend very well, and even when you layer them up, so they weren't a success for me, and I don't color with them. But that is just how it goes. You know, you get some pencils you try and other pencils, and they just, some work better for you, and as you go along you learn what works and what doesn't work. Now I also have a variety of other pencils that I was gifted in 2013. I tried a few soft pastel pencils, and as you can see, they have been used, but they've also been very, very brittle. The soft chalk pencils broke quite quickly, unfortunately, and these again are the Derwent range. So sometimes I use these, but because I only have a little bit and I don't like the mess of chalk pastels, they don't get used as often, and the core in some of them is very badly broken, so I try not to use these too much. Maybe one day I'll get a replacement set. But in pastels, I have gone and bought myself a set of 24, and these were just at my local hobby shop, and I got these pastels from there, and they're very cheap, so they're nothing fancy, but for backgrounds they work relatively okay. I'm not displeased with them, and again, it's a good way for me to practice cheaply how to use pastels and how to blend them and what works well. And I have found that scraping the chalk pastel onto the paper works best, and using a Q-tip or onto the side on a Tupperware lid, and using Q-tips or cotton buds to then put it onto my coloring page. So that is my chalk pastels. The next set of pencils I do own is again the Derwent drawings. Now this was just the fur and skin selection, and I've had these since 2013, around there, and I've only used them once or twice. I think at the time I found their colors very, very bright, and I do think they blend beautifully. It would be interesting to use them now again for skin tone. But one of my favorite things to use, even early on, was the Derwent blender. Now this is the Derwent burnisher, and as you can see I have got 3 of them, but they never get used because I actually don't like the Derwent burnisher. I much prefer the Derwent blender, and I would often get the set of 2 blenders with 2 burnishers, but this is one of my favorite pencils to use, and back in 2013 onwards I used it quite a lot in my drawings, and I have started using it again. I have also gone and used the Rembrandt Lyra burnish blender, but that one I'm not sure if it works very well with the Prismacolors, and I also try use the pencils themselves to layer up and blend my coloring pages. So that's what I use. Then I bought a set of Black Widow pencils, and these are the Cobras. Now, I got these for one of my children, and at the time they really liked them. They were popular, but you can even see which are the pencils that were dearly loved. I've only used Black Widows once or twice, and I have been impressed with how they've reacted and how they've blended. But I haven't gone and bought any more of the Black Widow sets because I'm not convinced that I need to really go and do that. But I do think these pencils hold up really well on their own. And I think if you have the bigger sets or collect the rest of the sets, you would definitely have a pretty good experience coloring with them. And then Arteza came onto the market, and their pencils became very popular, but I couldn't get my hands on the bigger sets, and I was able to get the Arteza 48 colored pencils with a triangular grip, and they are very rich and vibrant colors. They are very beautiful, and I have used them quite a lot. My children use them. They don't break easily. They blend well into each other. They blend well together. And we have some very beautiful colors. And you can see they have been dearly loved. They get muddled up with other pencils. So I really do like the Artezas, and I am quite keen to at some point get the full collection of 120 Arteza Experts, but these have been a joy to color with, and I think they deserve to be experimented a bit more. Next up, I move into the water type art supplies and pencils. Now you'll see I have quite a lot of pencils. Pencils are amongst my favorite mediums. I find I have a lot more control with pencils than with a paintbrush. And then I have also around between 2013 and 2015, I got gifted by family the Graphitint set, and I think it was a set of 12. Yes. And these I didn't know could be activated with water until I think it was 2021. And I happened to discover that they could be activated by water, and I much preferred them activated with water than as a straight pencil. And I think these colors do well with steampunk type backgrounds, or even with your steampunk themes. Anything that requires quite a dark base, these pencils work really well. And they last also very well. They don't break too quickly, and they lay down quite a rich pigment. So they are a very lovely set, but because they're quite dark, I'm not sure that this is a set I will go and buy again. So the first set of water-based pencils I ever received and experimented with is the Derwent Inktense, and I have the set of 72. And I absolutely love Inktense. I love working with them. I use them in some certain books as the only medium, and in other books I use them as a base. And here you can see the entire collection. And very beautiful, vibrant colors. They last a long time. I do have another set where it's more used, but this is I'm showcasing my best sets here. But yeah, some of my other pencils have been in the same set, have been used down a lot more, and They've been very, very deeply loved, and I'm very fond of them, and I do recommend them. I think that there is a lot more I can learn on how to use them well and efficiently, and even get to and grow in my coloring skills. But I do really, really enjoy them, and they're not as intimidating as they sound and when you get used to them. So it's just really being confident in yourself about where you want to place the colors. So that is my Derwent Inktense pencils. Then I have a set of 72 Castle Art watercolor pencils, which I've only used once or twice. Compared to Inktense, I would take Inktense over watercolor pencils any day. But again, beautiful pencils. You can use these as a regular pencil. It would work. They are a little bit more strange in the shape, so they're not a straight round. They're slightly bumpy on the sides. They've got these ridges, but they're not unpleasant. I prefer a round barrel instead of a edged one. But again, they are lovely pencils to work with, and you can build up the layers as you go. I then bought myself the Mi Liang, and this is a set of watercolor paints, and there's the colors. Really, really beautiful. I do enjoy using them, and I love that you don't need to use a lot for them to be vibrant, and it comes with its own water brush. And I do use the palette here as well. There you go, you can see them a bit better. So I have a lot to learn about watercolor paints and pencils, including the Inktense, but I am very, very pleased with the mailing, and I do recommend them. I think they're a great starter set. And then one of my absolute favorites for water-based medium is my Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s, and I've got the set of 30, which was a gift from my lovely family. And yeah, I really enjoy these. They are fun to work with. You can use them as a base and then go over with pencils. You can use them on their own. They make great backgrounds, and probably one of my favorite mediums for backgrounds. And you can do a lot with them, and I do use the parental water brush, which you can get in a set of 3 with different sizes. This is the thinner size, and I do prefer the thinner size. And then if you sharpen them, I keep my sharpened bits in a separate bag. They do go a lot further than you expect, so there's less need to be precious with them because they don't wear down too quickly. I've had mine now for a year, and as you can see, they weren't used terribly much. Then as far as sharpeners go, I have the Tagal sharpener, which I use for mainly my Prismacolors, but I find these need replacing within 6 to 9 months. I also have an electric sharpener, which works better with thicker pencils like the Derwent. My only complaint with this particular electric sharpener is that it stop-starts quite a bit, and it doesn't have a automatic stopping point when you reach a certain length in your pencil, so it's very easy to eat away at your pencil. And then I just use a regular sharpener. So you have this regular sharpener, which also works quite well, but I am looking at getting a different sharpener where I don't have to keep buying sharpeners and replacing them too quickly. So I'm still learning. And I think with time and patience I will figure out which pencils sharpeners work the best. Right, so let's have a look at a few things I use for embellishments, and I'm going to start off firstly with Posca pens. So I've got a black one and I've got a white one, and I use the black one for blacking out backgrounds, and I found that it's a 3mm, well it's that one, and it wasn't long before it started streaking the background in the page, so I've left it and haven't really gone back to it too much. I instead sometimes use black ink, or I'll use Neocolor 2s or even a watercolor paint. Maybe at some point I'll get a black acrylic and use that instead. And then I use the white Posca for highlights, and a lot of the time I use it to white out any dark lines I don't want, particularly in fur or hair. For embellishments, I started with the Uniball gel, so the Signo Uniball, and I really did enjoy it, and I am very, very pleased with them, and I really like them. And then I discovered the Sakura Jelly Roll. So I've got a whole lot of them, but I got a pack that had a size 10 and a size 8, and I found the Sakura Jelly Roll was a lot more permanent than the Signo pen. The Signo pen I can easily scratch away even once it's dried and been a few days, whereas with the Jelly Roll, the moment it dries I cannot scratch it off. So I thought that the Jelly Roll could possibly be a better use, but for now it's my favorite, but I am also fond of the Signo pen. Then I got myself the Spectrum Noir Sparkle, just to give a sparkle effect on some of my backgrounds, especially in a galaxy or a sky background, and sometimes also on waves. And I also like the idea of using it for sparkle on wings and that sort of thing. So I really like this one. And I found for a tester it was cheaper for me than to get the Zig Winkhoff Stella. So it's worked really well and I do like it, but again I don't have anything to compare it to, so it's quite easy to please. And then as another blender option I got the Pro Marker Winsor Newton blender, which blends pencil really beautifully, but I would only use it on a single-sided coloring page. I wouldn't use it on a double page because sometimes the color will seep through. And I had that in one of my coloring pages. So I found out the hard way in Magical Delights by Clara Markova. I did the background with pencil and then I blended it with the Winsor Newton Pro Marker brush. And it blended so beautifully. You can even see a bit of that Spectrum Noir sparkle. But it did bleed through. So for some reason the blue bled through and not the green, but because of this I decided I will only use my Pro Marker blender on single-sided pages and not double-sided, until I know exactly which colors, which Prismacolors will bleed through and react. But the effect and the blend was very beautiful and very easy, so just watch out for that. As far as erasers goes, I've used the Tombow Mono Zero, both the square and the round, and have been very happy with them. You can buy the replacements for the erasers and they aren't terribly cheap, but after mine broke, for about the same price I could get the Derwent electric eraser, which I've been using since and also have been quite happy with. They came with some replacement erasers, and also I can buy the erasers on their own. And then just to help the tip grip, we did a bit of a DIY hack where we cut a bit of a straw, cut a slit in it because our straw was quite thin, and placed it over the steel part of this, so that it gives a little bit more grip in the eraser, and it holds that eraser bit a lot better instead of it pressing in when you touching it to the coloring book. So I've got no complaints. I can get down to about 1/4 of the eraser before needing to replace it, which I don't think is terribly bad. Maybe with a bit more thought I can bring that down a bit further. I'm not sure yet. It's still relatively new. Then just recently we've purchased the 200 set of Ohuhu markers, and we really love them. I love using them as a base. Their colors are gorgeously vibrant, and what you know, it's just really easy, and they are such a delight to use. I don't think I'm at the level yet to blend with them, but to use them as a base, I think that the Ohuhus are such a great set, and I love the variety of colors that you can get with them, from soft colors down to even vibrant and dark colors. So yeah, very happy with our set of Ohuhus. Next up is my paint pens. I use the paint pens normally just to hide away black lines. So the first set I got is the metallic color pens. They're 2mm nib. They're very dark, but they're not too bad. They're quite like that they are a slight metallic color. That's the size of the nib, which is a bit too big for my liking. I think, you know, just for a bit of sparkle here or there, or just as an effect, they will work okay. But after that, we then went and got the Transfer 24 acrylic colors. And these ones are much thinner. They come with their own variety. You have to shake them because you can see they split. So you have to shake them before using. And then it mixes it up. And you have a much smaller nib. So I like these for flowers, the edges of flowers, and taking away black marks, or just as a highlight. I think my Sakura Jelly Roll is still my favorite, but these are quite handy to have. There you can see the full set of colors. And then I also bought some gel pens. These are not a very expensive brand. I've used this set before in just a different branding name, but the exact same colors, exact same thing. So they are glitter, there's neon, there's regular, and then there's the pastel version. And I like to use these for a bit, especially the gel pens, for a bit of sparkle, and also sometimes for those smaller objects I can't or don't want to color in. So I like these for also embellishing. Then I have these 4 distress inks. They're the mini version. I bought this just to test out the distress inks, and they came with their own applicator brushes. And I leave the pads on the inside of each one. So that way I don't mix them with the different colors. So I also enjoy using them for backgrounds. I've used mostly the blue, and I'm still getting used to them, and I can spray these with water and they do give that bubbled effect. So yeah. So that's my Tim Holtz Distress Inks. Then next I have the Dovecraft glitter glue and 3D pearl effects. So I have these colors as my glitter glue. I don't have the stickles. I did find the Dovecraft in one of our local shops, and they're like £1 each, and I thought that was really sensible because it's glitter glue, and yeah, I don't need anything fancier than that. I'm quite happy with them, and I've enjoyed experimenting with them and playing with their colors. So and I don't have a broader range than this. I think that's about the only colors that they come in, at least in the local shops. But they work really well, and I haven't had any reason to complain about them, and they're affordable. Then the Dovecraft also have their 3D pearl effects, which is these ones. So you've got the clear, you've got cream, purple, and then a very pale pink. And these are quite nice if you've got very little pearls that you want to do in a necklace, and you just put a blob down, and the way you put it down is kind of the way it sits. So I quite like these, although the glitter is more my favorite than these. I probably won't buy these again, but yeah, they work. If you use the clear over a background, you can create like a bit of a bubble effect, which is quite cool. So the clear one I would probably get again. And then I have the mini confetti jar. See, I got it for £1 from the Works, and these I will sometimes just glue onto my backgrounds instead of coloring in the stars or inking them out with white pen. So yeah. And then just as a few extras, I have these wax paper sheets. I think I bought like 100 of them. They come in 2 styles. One is hearts and the other one is sandwiches, or maybe macaroons. And they're just normal sandwich wax paper, and I use these to protect my coloring pages. So I stick them on between the pages when I'm done, and I will also cut them to the size of the book so that it stays and doesn't protrude too much. So they're quite affordable on Amazon. I didn't want the roll where you had to cut it out yourself. I quite like the idea of it being cut for me. So I would recommend this if you want something to protect your coloring pages. I also have, to protect coloring pages, a fixative. Now this I also got at our local hobby shop, and it is good for pastels, charcoal, crayon, chalk, lettering. So I've applied it on pretty much everything, and it's been okay. So yeah, I would recommend a fixative, especially if you use chalk pastel. As markers in my books to tag which coloring pages I have completed or I am wanting to do, I got these arrow markers at our local stationery store, and they were about 150. They cost me £1. So that's another thing that I use. And then of course I've got my old pink brushes, which I'm not going to recommend because I don't know if you even get them on stock anymore, and I don't use paintbrushes a lot, but I would recommend a good paintbrush set. You can get the non-animal ones, so if you want to be more I suppose friendly towards animals, then you don't have to worry about getting fur-based ones. You can get synthetic ones, but if you want to know which brushes to get, I would suggest coloring with Elena's channel, because she is somebody who uses paintbrushes a lot, so go check out her channel. And then that is all I have. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this coloring video where you get to see all my art supplies and what I use to do all my colorings with. Thank you for joining me. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below and let me know which coloring supplies you enjoy and what are your favorites. Until next time, take care.